Hello everybody, this is Jack Geis from DMV Sports Media. Today we're going to be covering the game between Arlington and the St. James U21 WPSL. And we have a good venue today, some good fans here. I'm looking for a good match between these two. Go through some of the starting 11s quickly. We're about to get underway here. Just waiting for a ref to do something on that end. It'll be Arlington to take the kickoff here. And we are underway. The last time these two faced, it was a 1-1 draw. Very good match that was, and a very competitive game. It's a great ball in there, way to take the space and get it into the midfield there. Have the ball on the outside to the midfield. Very well done to keep that ball. Looks like Arlington's trying to settle in to this game. They've got some good passes connected so far. It's a good turn there, and a great ball through. Well defended there by the St. James center back, but it's lost. Nice turn there to beat a couple, and a great ball through. Arlington on the attack early here. And it was just goes out of bounds there. Sometimes those balls can go through, and it's difficult to get your body able to cross that ball. A lot of times they can be a little bit in front of you and make it difficult, but good effort there nonetheless. Now St. James will have a chance to try and build out. Smart pass there to go back to the goalie under pressure. The goalie has some time here, plays it to the left center back. Gonna drive and take the space. Great, well done. Great touch there, plays it back out to the left back. St. James possessing well here. And a good skip ball there into the striker. Nice attempt of a turn there. Arlington now countering. Arlington enters the box on the right side. And a one-on-one here. Shot and a great save by the St. James goalie. And so far we've already had one chance there for Arlington off of the counterattack, and St. James going to have to try and settle in. Arlington definitely has the momentum at the moment. St. James going to play ball into the left side. It's going to be a foul there. Nothing untoward there. And we're going to have a free kick here in the end of the St. James. Good ball up there. Well dealt with by the St. James striker to keep that ball. Driving with pace, plays it into the striker. That's Elise McGee with a good chance there. But now in Arlington on the counter. One-on-one here, and the shot just wide. Great chance there for Arlington, and Arlington has already looked super dangerous on the counterattack here. They are looking very dangerous when St. James loses the ball. Arlington does not mess around. They play quickly, get the ball on the counter, and get chances. Arlington definitely had the better of the chances so far in these opening minutes. Could be a 2-0 game. That was Maddie Burke with the chance. Now St. James possessing. Driving into space here. Very comfortable driving into space, and a good ball there as well as we play out to the left side. And another great ball. And it's going to most likely go out for a corner here. Yeah. It's good by St. James, though. They've got to get on the attack here, as Arlington has been on them twice now. St. James got to make something happen, and that was a good start to make something. Now it'll be Arlington for the goal kick. Gonna go long on the goal kick here. Great goal kick there as we get it up to the striker of Arlington, who was able to hold it up. Goes out for a throw in for Arlington here. Quick throw, played into the midfield. Now we're playing back to the center back, and Arlington decides to possess. It's a risky ball there, but very well dealt with by the Arlington center back. It was very well done. That was Hallie Thomas with the turn there. Nicely done. Could be a foul, but they're going to let them play. Yeah, didn't really see much of a foul there. I like to call by the ref. Let them play. That was Courtney Millis who kept the ball there. Well done. And she's on the ball again here. Not able to keep it that time, but it does go back to St. James. St. James going to elect to try to keep the ball a bit here. Keep it in their back. And driving into the midfield again. That was Abigail Collis. It was a very good touch to drive into the midfield. Now here is Courtney Millis driving with the ball. Plays a good ball in, but it does not get to Ellis McGee there. And Arlington dealing with it a bit. Nicely done by Maddie Burke there to play it back. And keep the attack going. And it goes out for back to the goalie here. Very well dealt with by the keeper there. St. James looking to slow it down as they play a ball into the midfield. Not able to keep that one. Cassidy Collins unable to keep that one. It was a difficult ball. Sometimes as a attacker you get those balls with a lot of pace coming into you and somebody on your back. It's difficult to keep those balls. So Arlington on the attack now. And St. James gets it back on the left side. Driving with pace here is Emily Ninu. I believe she just turned 16 is what I was told. She's very impressive to play in this league at that age. That was Cassandra Villafan. Kept the ball well there. And now the St. James looking to make something happen here as they play it out to the left back. That was Emmy Rivera, kept the ball well. And looks like Arlington will deal with this one, although there is some pressure coming. It's going to go out for a goal kick. And another goal kick here for Arlington. And the game is settled in a bit here. The beginning, Arlington put on 2 great chances. Could have went up 2-0, but St. James did well to defend them, and it is still a 0-0 game. Arlington plays a goal kick, and it's going to be headed into the air, not down. That is going to be lost, and now St. James on the counter. Can't get something out of it, but they do get a throw, which is good. And now we have a throw-in on the left side of the field here in the Arlington side, the defense. It's played in, and looks like it'll be Arlington ball. Now Arlington has the throw. That was Cassidy Collins who lost it. It was a difficult throw into her feet. Not much she could have done with that. Now Arlington trying to break out of their pressure from St. James. That's a nice ball. And now they've got an attack here. Arlington defended it well. And it's a clearance there, but probably want that clearance to go a bit more towards the midfield. They do deal with it as that ball almost goes into the stands. It's cleared out. Now St. James going to have to settle in again as they have a chance to build out. And another just great decision to go up when the attackers decide to press you like that and give you your option to drive forward. She does that very well. She's been showing it multiple times already today. St. James on the attack. They're driving into the midfield, and they've got it outside the box, and a shot, a turn, and a goal. And a beautiful finish that was, and really just as simple as it gets. Play it in, and no one's marking her. She turns, she has a shot, and it's a great goal there. And that was Elsie McGee with an amazing finish. Got it, turned it onto her right foot, and no pressure, was able to finish it. A wicked shot. And as I was talking about earlier, Arlington was on the attack in the beginning of this match, but St. James is the ones who strike first and make it 1-0. So now Arlington will look for an answer. Arlington plays it down the byline to the right side. And another cross there, well dealt with by the St. James center back. Arlington trying to go quick here, trying to get back in this game as soon as possible. Not that they're out of this game, but I feel as if they want to get a goal back on the board quickly here. And it appears they rush it a little too much and lose the ball. Now it's back to St. James. And it's going to be offsides was the call. St. James going to possess, but a little bit of a miscommunication there, and they lose the ball. Now it's countering for Arlington. A great ball through. Arlington one-on-one with the goalie here. Wow, she beats one. And the goalie does make an incredible effort slash, save there to talk with her center back and close down the angle. It was really nicely done by the Arlington striker there, Alden Marin. She made a great run, made a great move to beat one defender, but sometimes it's not enough, and the goalie and the center back can close down the angle, which they did very well. So St. James stops one there. Now St. James possessing the ball in their own half. And they're driving into the midfield now. I'm going to switch it over. Another just textbook defense there from the defense to be able to break out of that press. Very well done, but they do elect to try and go for the long ball there, which does not work out for them. Now it's going to be an Arlington throw-in. Arlington going to go back to the center back here, and she will elect to go back to the other center back. It's a risky ball, but they deal with it. Now a great ball into the striker. Hopefully she can hold it up well, and she does a really nice job there. That was Hallie Thomas with a great turn, and Arlington playing beautiful football here to break out of the pressure. That was textbook, and they try to go for the killer ball through. It just doesn't work out. Looked like maybe a hand there, but ref did not call it, and Arlington pressure again, turn, and maybe a shot. Cuts it back under her left foot. A shot. Oh, my goodness, and what a chance there for Arlington. Really, really great football there was played. Just absolutely built through, just played through St. James, got a chance, and really could have been 1-1 right there. It was a great, great effort. Now St. James going to play out of the goal kick here, and they've got to settle into this game. They're up 1-0, but Arlington does keep putting the pressure on, and it appears that St. James is a little unsure what to do when they're building out of the back. It seems a bit hectic and a little misorganized, and Arlington dealing with it very well, although the score is 1-0 St. James, so Arlington's got to finish one of these chances. They've had many, 4 I think so far, of chances they could have scored, and they're doing well, but they just got to get the ball in the back of the net and stay in this game, because St. James can get on the counter quick and make this game a 2-0 game, and that's where it gets difficult here. Now Arlington with the ball in the midfield, driving with speed, and plays it into the striker. I believe that's Hallie Thomas. And that looks like a foul, but they're not going to call it there. I think the ref wants to let the girls play and just let it go. And nice ball there by the St. James, but it's going to be taken up by the Arlington keeper, who elects to play quickly here. I would have preferred it a little bit slower of a play out there. You just defended for a long time, and sometimes it's difficult when you play quick like that. But now St. James is on the ball and trying to break out of this press again. They've had a lot of success so far, but they do lose it there, and now the counter could be on for Arlington. Good hustle back to regain the ball. Now they're possessing again in their own half here, the St. James. Play it out to the right back, and it looks like she'll go back to the keeper, and now the keeper has some time to make a decision. Play to the left center back. And that was Abigail Collis, who decides to go back to the right center back. And St. James is saying, we're winning 1-0. If you're not going to pressure us, we'll keep the ball. Driving into the midfield a bit here. They play it into the 6. She turns. And she is most likely going to go back to the center back who gave her the ball. And they're just going to keep the ball here, St. James. I like what I'm seeing. They're winning 1-0. No need to rush. Let Arlington come in, invite the pressure. And they're doing well. Arlington not necessarily pressing them, but it looks like it could be a trap. And here it is. Arlington almost wins the ball there, but St. James does regain possession. And now they've broken the pressure. Now, St. James driving with speed, lots of runs being made, drives into the midfield, and she loses it. Now Arlington can be on the counter here. Very well done to keep that ball. That was incredible. That was Hallie Thomas, who's made an impact early for Arlington here. They play it out to the right back. That is Allie Griswold, who's going to drive forward with the ball here, try to find something, and she sees nothing and plays it back. And that's just smart football there to keep the ball. Good ball into the striker here for Arlington. She holds it up, plays it to Hallie Thomas. She takes a poor touch there. It makes it a little difficult, but it's good defending by the St. James defender nonetheless. And wow. And a good dummy there and back out to the right side. St. James playing some beautiful football now. They play it back. And she went for the killer pass there. I feel like she had time to just go forward, but you know, sometimes teammates don't say man on, they don't say turn, and can feel a little flustered with what to do with the ball, and it looked like that may have been one of those times right there. That was Elsie McGee who lost the ball, but she has a good shot on her and scored from that exact same area a little bit ago. I think she'll be shooting that next one instead of passing. And Arlington and St. James are going to hit the ball here for a deflection, which will go out for St. James. And St. James on the throw-in. They are in Arlington's half. They play it down the line. That is to Elsie McGee, and she beats 2 players there, but a little bit of a long touch. The touch made it hard for her to get the cross-up, but she does get a throw-in, which is more important than a lot of people think. Gives you a break to settle down and try and get something in. As they play it into the box and they lose it, but it's very well dealt with by the St. James. And she just does a bit too much there and loses the ball. But it's great pressure back, and I'm not sure about that call. I feel like the body position was fair, and I think they just went shoulder to shoulder, but the ref saw something different and going to call a foul there. That foul is on Cassidy Collins. Now Arlington will have the chance to build out and play out of this pressure. Free kick in their own half. They're going to elect to go long. It's really well dealt with again there by... That's Courtney Mills, who's really playing some good breakup soccer there. It's playing at the number 6, I believe. Now, really well done by Arlington to not let anything happen out of that. Arlington has the ball in the corner here. They're going to get a throw-in. Going to try and break out of pressure. They go quick here. Really, really well done there to keep that ball under pressure. That was Lucia Gillen, who just opened up the field for Arlington. And look at the counter they're on now. As they're on the left wing, 1v1 here. She tries to go down the left side and beat her, but it's well defended. It's a good battle between those two. Now we have a throw-in on the very far end of the field, and possibly Arlington will look to go long here into the box. They go short, but they play it down the line. Arlington cuts it back, and there's a chance to play up to the top here. And they do. Top of the box with the ball, Arlington. Gets it back onto her right foot with a nice ball through. That's Hallie Thomas fighting for the ball. Plays a great ball through again. Will she get there? No, does not appear. It's good football again there. They're able to break out of a pressure. It starts with a throw-in. They get it to the other side switch and play it on the counter. And they get an opportunity out of it. Arlington playing very well so far. St. James playing good as well. And we have a pretty good game on our hands here today. We see a sub happen now, and St. James is on the goal kick here. And it appears that we're actually, yeah, they're going to sub the left back. St. James decides. Bit of an early sub. Could have been something tactical. Maybe the player had to call for a sub. It's a little early for a sub like that. Really well done to break the pressure there in the midfield. And going to drive with the ball, play it to the freshly subbed on player, and that's probably not the touch she wants to get on her first touch. But it is really hard to get involved in a game when you just get subbed on. It's difficult, not easy. And a lot of pressure here from Arlington, but very well dealt with again. That is just good football there. Play it out to the right back. That was Sheridan Show who played it out to the right back. Now St. James driving, plays a good ball in. And that was Alexandra Jones, who's the newly subbed in player. She's playing left back, but very out of position at the moment. She's got to work her way back here. And now we have a counter for Arlington. Look like maybe a handball there. She's going to shoot from distance. And I'm not sure if the goalie touched it. It appeared not. That was Michaela Edmonds, who has been very dangerous on that left wing so far. She's had a lot of balls played through to her and just been running at the St. James right back and getting a lot of joy out of it. It was a good shot there. Made the goalie at least dive, and that's what you got to do to get pressure on the other team. Because now St. James, they've got to break out of this press now. And that is Hallie Thomas leading the line. She's going to press it over to the left side. Dealt with well by St. James. They're going to play back to the other side, and now it's going to be tough for Hallie Thomas to get back to that side and pressure. As St. James plays it through, they lose the ball. Now Arlington, really good left-footed pass on the one time there to break lines again. That was Lucia Gillen again playing a really good ball, and she's on the ball again here. She's going to lose it, and maybe she can work back and win it. Oh, that was a rough foul there. I think that looked very unintentional, though. It just kind of ran into each other at the same time. So now it'll be an Arlington free kick in their own half. And that was Sophia Tomita, who has played very well so far for Arlington at the right center back position. Arlington goes long, plays it into Hallie Thomas. She flicks it on very well, and it's going to go out for a goal kick. That was really well done by Hallie Thomas there. She's got to have her teammates run off of her when she plays those flick-on balls, because without that, it just really doesn't help much. It's difficult. As a striker, you usually have nobody behind you, so when you play those passes, you got to have your teammates running on, or else it's usually just going to go out of bounds. Now St. James has a goal kick again, and it's maybe their 7th or 8th goal kick. Arlington putting a lot of pressure on them, as they do again here, and St. James is going to kick it into the right side of the field and actually keep the ball here. And it's going to go out for a throw for St. James. Now St. James tries to go down the line. That's going to be a foul. It possibly could be a yellow, but the ref does not see it as malicious, and he's just going to let them play. No card there. Now St. James has a dangerous free kick in Arlington's half, just about 10, 15 yards into Arlington's half, and it looks like they're going to elect to go long here, try and get something off of a ping ball into the box here, try and go high, keep it in the air. It's just a bit too short, and Arlington deals with that no problem. Although that is a big hit there. The linesman called it originally, but the center ref is going to let them play. He's been letting them play today. He's not been calling it very, very tight. He's letting them play physical, which I think both teams probably would prefer. Now St. James on the ball as they played into the midfield. And St. James again plays it back to the left back. Hallie Thomas is going to pressure there. Very well dealt with there to keep that ball by St. James player. That was Mia de Villegas Decker, who has played very well so far. She gets on the ball there. She loses it. Looked like it was a bit behind her. Sometimes it's hard to tell on the stream, but balls can be played behind, and you can't really tell sometimes. Now Arlington is on the attack, onto their right side of the field. She's holding the ball up well. Almost gets out of that. Had two people on her getting double teamed, and that kind of tells you that the caliber of Maddie Burke, that they need to bring two players over there to stop her. from turning. Really well dealt with there by the St. James center back as they drive into the field now. And on the attacks, she's going to try and go down the line. That was Amelia Ninu, who wins another throw-in. It's been very, very good so far. Making some stuff happen on that left wing. The ref is saying, got to move back to throw. Now it is a St. James throw deep into Arlington territory. Arlington deals with it well. It's still in the corner here. Oh, wow. Big hit there. Yeah, that's definitely a foul. Again, don't really think it was intentional or anything, but going to have to call that. That was Elsie McGee with the foul. She's had a couple fouls today, but she also had an absolute screamer of a goal. I think she's a physical player and plays to that level, and probably why she's got a couple fouls, but she's doing very well. Now Arlington plays long, and that is Courtney Millis, who deals with it really well and beats 3 players there. Now going for the long ball. I think she just tried to do a little too much there. She had the right side open to just keep that ball, but you know, I think they're looking for more. They're trying to get another goal on the board here before halftime, it appears. Arlington going to go for a long punt here, and that's Hallie Thomas who brings it down. And she wins the ball back. She lost it originally, but wins it back here. A nice ball through here with the left foot, but the keeper is going to come out quick and claim it. And Arlington is going to have to press again here. Hallie Thomas is going to let them play on that right side. And well dealt with there by Courtney Millis, who is playing very well so far. Definitely a standout of this first half. She is kind of running the game in the midfield. Arlington now Arlington is a bit out of position here. They definitely could make something happen here. St. James's. They play it back to the left side, and now it's on the left wing again. Driving at the defender, St. James. Cuts onto her left, and really good tackle there by Arlington, and they're going to win that ball, but they're stuck in the corner. Now they've got it holding up. Really well done by Arlington to not lose it here. If they keep it, it's great. And they get a throw in, and that's just really well done by Arlington. They're outnumbered there in their own corner, and they keep the ball, get a throw in, and slow it down for their team. It's just good football there. Now we'll see a couple subs. It appears we're in the 26th minute as Arlington will sub out Maddie Burke, who had a good 26 minutes. And it appears Hallie Thomas also exited the field. So Arlington going to sub on a new striker and a new right wing and look to make something happen here as the subs try to get involved quickly, I'm sure. And immediately gets involved, the sub there. She gets the ball, turns, and just under a lot of pressure there. Doesn't have much help, but a really good turn there. And St. James keeps the ball, and they're going to just calm it down here. They've got to calm it down. And it goes out for a goal kick here for Arlington. I think Arlington going to look to slow it down a bit here. They are down 1-0, but they've had a lot of pressure under them, and I'm sure they're getting a bit tired from all of the pressure that the St. James is providing to them. St. James playing 2 high as opposed to Arlington with their 1 striker high, so they're pressing a bit harder, St. James is. Courtney Millis tries to get onto that, but cannot. Arlington, that's a last-ditch effort there to keep that ball from going through. Really well done. And they're going to go out for a throw here. Now, St. James is really putting the pressure on. As St. James throwing down the line to the right side. It looked like could have been a high kick there, but I think she realized she did not want to kick the Arlington player in the head. Now we have a throw-in for St. James. Plays it into the box, actually, but dealt with very nicely. And Courtney Millis with a great touch and shot, and it looked like a handball, but maybe not. Now St. James is on the back foot here. And, yeah, they've got to just clear it. And, actually, it's a great clearance into the right side of the field for Cassidy Collins to deal with it. Courtney Millis just doing a little too much physically there and gets a foul there called on her. But it's a foul deep in the other territory, and, you know, those aren't necessarily horrible. It helps you slow down the play, helps you regroup and get set up again. St. James, with the partnership of Elsie McGee and Cassidy Collins up top, have been doing very well, putting some pressure on Arlington. And that's Courtney Collins who deals with it again really well there, but they're going to lose the ball. And now Arlington on the counter, play it out to the right wing. This is newly subbed on player for Arlington. As she drives down the right side and is just not able to get her really not able to get her body in front of the St. James player, who is able to get her body in between and let it go up for a goal kick. This is another goal kick here for St. James. They're able to deal with it, though. A lot of teams, if you gave them that many goal kicks, they would make a lot of mistakes and lose the ball. But St. James, they're fine under pressure. They're playing out well. But they do lose this one. And that was good hold-up play there by Arlington. Going to play a shot in here, but it's routine for the goalie, as she was able to kind of read where that shot was going and pretty much was right in front of it there. Now St. James again going to have to build out of this pressure. And they're going to go long here, play it into Amelia, but she's not able to get onto that ball. And now that's Courtney Millis who gets beat a bit. But it does end up going out for another goal kick for the St. James. And, I mean, I have commentated a lot of games before. I don't think I have ever seen this many goal kicks. This is kind of incredible, but St. James really having no issue with these goal kicks. Like, Arlington is pressing with just one, and St. James is able to build out pretty much every time, as they do again here, and put the pressure on Arlington. Now Arlington is going to have to deal with the pressure. That's really well done by Arlington, although they do lose that second ball. Arlington's going to keep on. They're going to keep it here, but she kind of turns right back into the St. James player. Now Courtney Millis is going to play a nice left-footed ball, but Amelia was not able to get to that one. Amelia Ninu, the left winger, number 20 for St. James, was unable to get to that ball, but she's playing very well and providing a lot for her team. That's Courtney Millis with a great ball through. And now she's got to defend. Let's see what she can do here as she gets it back, but loses it quickly. Now Arlington on the counter. And now St. James is on the counter. It is a back-and-forth game here. We've got two good teams just going back and forth. St. James on the right wing, driving into the box now. Gets it under her right foot, cuts it back to her left, and crosses it. And it is very well defended by Arlington, who's able to keep that out of the back of their net. And no foul there. They play it into the left wing now, and that's going to be offsides. St. James had a lot of pressure going for them there. Just almost scored to make it 2-0, and if they were to not call that offsides, I think they would have got another chance right there. It appears Arlington is struggling a bit with the counterattack of St. James, as they have a lot of pace at the front, and they're playing through, just really driving at the Arlington players and giving them a tough time. Now it'll be an Arlington goal kick here as we enter around 32 minutes played. It is 1-0 if you're joining us here now. Now we finally get a bit of a break in the game here as it slows down. Gonna go for a long goal kick to the left side of the middle of the field here. St. James deals with it, but they can't get the second ball, and neither can Arlington, so it actually stays with St. James. That was Abigail Collis, who deals with it very well. And it's going to be a long ball into the... Yeah, and now we're on the right wing, and we're countering again. St. James is just putting so much pressure on Arlington. I'm sure their players are getting tired. Arlington with the throw-in. Crosses it in, and that was, I believe, that was Cassidy Collins with the shot there. She almost scored a second ago and had the really similar chance there, but twice Arlington just dealt with it very well. We're able to get someone in the way, block the shot, and now it's Arlington on the attack here, and that's Hallie Thomas. Kind of 1v1, going to cut into her right foot and play a ball across to the right side. It just doesn't make it all the way there. Now we are on the counter again, as the St. James countering with Cassidy Collins on the left wing. She's 1v1 here. Keep going on her right foot, cuts inside to the right, and goes back to her left. Now she tries to play it into the left again, but it's a bit of a tough ball, and just didn't look like they were, both of them were really ready for that ball. And that will get Cassidy Collins subbed off. A lot of times you see players get subbed off right after a moment like that because they just go through a lot of running, and the coaches may think, okay, let's give a break after all that, because it's quick to get tired on this field, and we're actually indoors today, so could be a bit of a difficult thing to adjust to from playing outside the entire summer. Hallie Thomas deals with that really well and actually keeps it there for Arlington. And Arlington going to keep the ball here, play it back. Now another long ball, and wide open there is the striker for Arlington, but just unable to kind of, wow, and Arlington on the counter, really good pressure there. Arlington left wing, going to possibly cut back to the right, and she does. Plays a good ball in, but St. James deals with it, and now Hallie Thomas takes it down onto the left foot. Keeps it, plays it in, and now we're cutting back, and it's offsides. St. James taking the ball. And it's going to go out a bit for a throw, possibly. No, actually, going to keep the ball here, St. James. And Arlington and St. James, bit of a battle in the midfield here. Hallie Thomas, oh my goodness, what a play by Hallie Thomas to keep that ball. That was incredible. I mean, to think of even doing that in the midfield is very bold, and the fact that it worked is even better. But it's going to end up going to the St. James goalie. And St. James going to build out here onto the right side. And they lose the ball on the counter here. Arlington has a shot. They shoot, and it's just not hit right. And she's going to want that one back for sure. Those are tough when you're driving at speed and sprinting, especially as a defender. That was the left back of Arlington on her right foot, which may not be her strong foot. Most left backs usually left-footed. But, yeah, she just kind of gave it a whack and a little bit off there as it goes out for another goal kick here for the St. James. Really well done by the center back there on St. James to just switch the field and invite the pressure here for Arlington. Arlington not really pressing the two center backs of the St. James. And now the St. James, they go quick there. Okay, I was going to say, I thought they were going to go for a quick free kick here, but they do take a second. And last time we saw this, the St. James tried to dump a ball into the box here and just make something happen. It appears they're going to do that again. But the last time they did it, it just didn't make it to the box. And I'm sure they're going to try and get this one in the box here, probably to the front post. And that's a good ball into the back post, but no one really there, and Arlington deals with it well. Now St. James is going to get this second ball in the corner and going to get a throw-in. Now they can go into the box or play short, and it looks like they're going to play probably down the line here. Yeah, they do. Arlington deals with it, and now it's a scuffle to win the ball here as the keeper will be the one who gets it for Arlington. Now Arlington going to play short there. The keeper likes to play short, and I think St. James has recognized that as they win the ball here. Yeah, and wow, a nice ball through there and a great touch as the St. James is through on goal, but an amazing save by the goalie. The touch was absolutely incredible by the St. James striker there to put herself through on goal. But wow, what a save by Arlington. And they keep this game 1-0. Hallie Thomas with a really good ball through, but it's just going to be a little too much. And the St. James goalie now picks it up, and they're going to reset here. St. James drives into the midfield. Very well done by the St. James striker, although it's just not good enough, and it goes over to Hallie Thomas on her left foot. Now St. James, yeah, and Arlington wins it back. Now St. James has it. It's very, very back and forth game here. It's almost tough to commentate because it's so back and forth. And now we're back to Arlington. The the ball is just flowing back and forth very quickly. We're going to go back here to the keeper. The Arlington keeper has showed a lot of class so far. Great turn there by the Arlington 6. She's driving with speed, but that's a pretty harsh foul from behind. Yeah, that's going to be a card. I'm not sure if that's necessarily yellow card worthy. It's 100% a foul. I just don't know if that's a yellow. It didn't. Arlington was countering, but they didn't have much going for them there. I don't think that's a yellow card. And it appears the ref, yeah, they're going to go for some subs here. Would not be surprised if the St. James player gets subbed off after that. Yellow card is dangerous in the sport of soccer because if you get another, you are out of the game. You hurt your team a lot. Now St. James is going to sub out Elsie McGee. And now Arlington has another free kick just behind midfield on their side. Right about in the middle of the field here. And they're going to go long. Haley Thomas with her left foot. Again, just really well done. Although she does lose it there. She wins it back. And that's what I like about her game is she doesn't necessarily give up when she loses the ball. And she's patient. She turns it onto her left foot here and plays a good idea through, but it's actually going to be offsides. But the ref does not see that the linesman is called offsides here, and I suppose they're going to just play, even though the linesman still has his flag up. Arlington now is going to break the lines again, and the flag is still up from 30 seconds ago maybe. The center ref has got to see that. It appears he does see it now, and they're going to call it back. Now St. James with a free kick about at the 30-yard line in their half on the right side of the field. And from what we've seen in the game so far, it appears they're going to go long here. As that is Courtney Mills who checks back into the game. And that was Abigail Callas who's really showed some class on that back line for St. James. Getting on the ball a lot. She's right-footed playing left center back, which is difficult. It's not easy, but she's able to break out of the pressure a lot here. Now Arlington signals for a long play here from the goalie, and that is straight into the striker, but it's just tough to deal with those balls. A lot of times they're bouncing, at your knees. Not necessarily easy to deal with, and does not keep the ball there, the Arlington striker, although there's an Arlington throw in here. And Arlington looking to break out of this. And well done, but it's a risky ball and dealt with well by the Arlington left center back. And that is number 24, Gabriella Davis, who has played very, very well so far. But that's Courtney Millis, who is just having a phenomenal game for the St. James. Just getting involved so much, getting that ball in the midfield, driving forward and playing the ball forward, which is what a lot of midfielders lack nowadays. A lot of midfielders are scared to make that pass forward. They just want to play sideways, backwards, keep the ball. And, of course, that can be good, but you kind of need a player like Courtney Mills to play the ball forward. She's doing very well today. She gets on the ball there and loses it, but she's able to hustle back and defend to the point where it's a bad ball by Arlington. It's going to go out for a goal kick here. Now this is the St. James goal kick. Again, we might be on 15 goal kicks here for the St. James. They've had a lot of goal kicks, as I've mentioned to prior, but as I've said, they're able to break out of it. They're going to play it to the right center back here off of the goal kick. She's going to drive forward and play it back to the goalie, and they're going to invite the pressure from Arlington here. A really good ball into Courtney Mills, and she's probably the player you want to get on the ball there as she breaks a line while getting fouled. Just very impressive stuff. St. James able to switch it, and just not the pass there. The through ball was not necessarily on. I don't think she saw it. I think she was just trying to play it forward there, but it does not work out for the St. James. And a really big clearance there. Actually going to stay in, but the touch lets her down a bit there, and now Arlington on the ball again, and they're going to have a throw in their own half. Deep in their own half on the left side. So they throw the ball in, and a nice turn there by the Arlington player who breaks out of pressure. Now Arlington in a bit of trouble, but she's able to keep it. Plays it back to the left center back. She plays it to the left back now, and she's going to try and drive forward. They're going to get another throw-in. We've had a lot of throw-ins today, a lot of goal kicks, a lot of times the ball is going out of play in this match. Some good defense being played. A nice play there by Arlington. She's able to keep that ball in the air and literally juggle it through a couple players to keep the ball. Very impressive football there. And they play it into Hallie Thomas, who's probably the best player to play it into her feet. She keeps it there and, yeah, gets the foul. Hallie Thomas has showed that she can deal with it under pressure, and Arlington looking to play through her. Now Gabriella Davis will be on the free kick here for Arlington. She is taking all of these free kicks and has a great leg on her to kick it in to the other half. I mean, she's kicking it maybe 30, 40, 50 yards most of the time, and she's taking all of them as well. Very impressive. Now St. James on the attack, and a really great defensive play there that actually puts Arlington through on goal. Now Arlington has a decision to make as they play it into the midfield with a nice turn, and she's on her right foot and elects to shoot. It's blocked, but it's open here, and it's missed wide. I'm not sure if she was offsides. I believe she was, so it wouldn't have mattered if she scored, but that's definitely a chance that Arlington striker wants back if she was to be onsides. Not sure if she was onsides or not, but that was a really nice play by Arlington to get on the counter and get a nice chance off. Arlington trying to get a goal here before this second half starts. And we're in the 45th minute. They're going to need to get something quick here. I don't know how much added time we'll have. We didn't have many stoppages in this first half. And Arlington now playing with the ball in their half. Good pressure there by the St. James. And you can hear the coach telling them to press, but Arlington keeper plays a great ball to break out of this pressure. And now Arlington driving with the right side, plays it down the line. As she drives into the middle and plays a nice through ball there into the Arlington striker, but she's not able to get onto it. Now St. James going to have to deal with this ball as they keep it, and Courtney Mills is on the ball now, which is exactly what you want if you're the St. James. Although she loses it there. Now Hallie Thomas on the ball with her left foot. She's able to play it in, and it goes a good idea there to go back to Hallie Thomas, but it just doesn't work out for them. But St. James now under a lot of pressure in their corner. They do win a throw-in. That is going to be halftime for us here at the St. James complex with Arlington and the St. James WPSL U21 teams. This is Jack Geist, and we'll be back for your second half. we're back for second half action here with Arlington WPSL and the St. James WPSL. This is Jack Geist commentating, your host today. We had a very closely contested first half with St. James striking early with a very, very quality goal. Just beautiful turn and finish. And it kind of put Arlington on the back foot. Although Arlington was pressuring and playing very good football in the beginning, had a couple chances to make something happen, but they couldn't finish. And that's where we stand. A very close back and forth game with the St. James leading 1-0 as we kick off here for second half action. The St. James. It's Courtney Mills who gets herself involved quickly. Very involved in the first half, and we suspect she'll be involved again here in the second half. Arlington gets the ball in the midfield here, plays it out to the left back. Good decision there to keep it. And she's going to go long into that channel, but it's just out of bounds. Not the ball you want to play there. A little difficult, and we get a St. James throw-in. St. James throw-in there. It's going to be lost. Courtney Mills deals with it well. And now the center back, under pressure, goes long. Understandable there to go long, as we see St. James come out with a very similar starting 11 with the front two of Cassidy Collins and Elsie McGee, who were very dangerous in the first half. And Arlington goes with a long throw here. And they keep the ball well. And now a greatly paced ball to switch it there to the right back. And wow, nice skill there. She completely beats the left wing. Arlington again now really playing a nice counter here, but great hustle there by the St. James to win it back. And now the St. James gets it to Courtney Mills. She drives forward and plays a great ball into space to the left wing. She actually keeps that in, plays it forward, but it's just a little out of reach there for Cassidy Collins. Now St. James with a throw-in. Will look to get something on the attack here as they go in for a long throw to the corner. Holding it up well here is Cassidy Collins and gets a nice cross-off. Apologies, that was Elsie McGee. And Courtney Mills tries to get onto it there, and she does not find success. Now St. James under pressure. The right center back will step into the pocket. Plays a nice ball, and another nice ball played there. Now a nice touch that opens her up onto the right side, and they're going to win a throw-in. That was Gabrielle Davis who dealt with that well defensively for Arlington, who's played a great first half and actually looks like she got a bit knocked up there. Her right knee looks to be bothering her. Hopefully she's okay as she goes in for another challenge there and plays some good defense again. And Courtney Mills going to just take this one herself as it pops out to the left side. Courtney Mills gets it back. No, it's actually a shot here and saved by the Arlington keeper, who has had a good first half, and she actually wants to go long here and quick. And that's a good ball. That's the right idea there for Arlington to try and catch St. James on the counter, as they had a lot forward, really only two back, and I like that. I like that ball from the goalie there. I like that you're showing them they've got to respect that long ball. And now St. James dealing with it under pressure, and this opening of this half has been very intense so far, waiting for the teams to settle down, as it doesn't look like they will. Now here's Hallie on the ball here on her left foot and keeps it. Wow, she still has it here, just taking on everyone by herself, and keeps it. Really well done. With her right foot, I must mention, as she's a left-footed player. Now she's going to cross to the back post, and a header here, but no. Really, really well done there by Arlington. Great football played, and Hallie Thomas just keeps showing her ability on the ball, especially on her left foot. I think she's one of the only left-footed players on the field today, and you can really notice when she's on the ball. She has made some magic happen today with that left foot. And now she's going to take the corner right-footed, so maybe she is just completely ambidextrous. And that's a good ball, so I'm going to have to say I'm pretty sure she's ambidextrous. That very impressive there by Hallie Thomas. Now St. James will be on they'll have another goal kick here. I've had many in the first half. I would say Arlington has put more pressure on the St. James, but the St. James can deal with the pressure a little bit better than Arlington can. As you can see right there, just no problem for Abigail Collis to deal with that. She's been And a great touch there by Abigail Callis to set herself up onto her left foot, driving into the midfield. And she plays ball into the midfield there to her 6, and now they're going to be under pressure a little bit. Hopefully, and she's not going to be able to get there. But Abigail Callis has showed her ability to play out of the back like a ball-playing center back, and she's helped her team a lot with that, breaking out of the pressure easily, I must add. Now, Arlington is going to get the ball and reset here. They have the ball at their right center back. She's going to switch it over to the left center back and look to get something moving here. She drives into the pocket also. And both teams have center backs that are able to, and a great ball played through there, and now we have a counter. Both teams with great center backs that are comfortable with driving forward into the pocket, beating the press, and then finding the pass. And, oh no, it's dealt with okay. Dealt with well there. Yeah, both teams have really quality center backs, and I think that's why this game is only 1-0. We've had a lot of chances, but very well defended. And there it is again, driving into the pocket and playing the ball into the 9. And it's just really well done there to turn it and just still fighting. Very well done there. That was Elsie McGee, who just completely, like no problem, just took the ball and turned it and got a nice ball off as well. There's Hallie Thomas, who loses the ball. I haven't said that much today. And now we have a St. James throw-in as Courtney Mills moves around trying to get involved. It looks like it will go to her. No, it's going to go down the line here. And that's back to Elsie McGee. And a rough, it's what we call a hospital ball when you play it in to a lot of pressure with nowhere to go. Hence the name. Nice touch there by the St. James player, but just well defended there. And now Hallie Thomas gets it onto her left foot, and she plays a really good ball through there. Now Arlington, he's going to take it on the one time with a right-footed toe poke. It's probably not what I would have elected to do there, but it's a good chance, and they get now they can press. And they're going to press, but it's a bit of a lazy press, but it actually works out as Hallie Thomas driving at the defenders, which you do not want, as a step over there onto her left foot and shoots. That is just really well done there. And Arlington putting on pressure early, as we saw in the first half. What happened last time was Arlington put on a ton of pressure, had a ton of shots, had a ton of chances, and St. James got one counter and made it 1-0. So we're looking for Arlington to be able to make this game 1-1 and not go down 2-0, because that will make it very difficult. As St. James plays a goal kick here, and really nicely done there to win that header. Now Hallie Thomas is going to hunt this ball down as she gets it. She turns on her left foot. Really nice hesitation there, and going to play the ball through. Just very well done again, and it looks like we'll go out for a throw here for Arlington, as Hallie Thomas just keeps getting involved and keeps helping her team get into the St. James territory. Just doing it very well. Now the St. James going to have to defend a corner. It's a throw-in the corner, apologies. And it goes into Hallie Thomas onto her right foot. She plays a nice layoff ball, and now a shot could be coming. It does, but it's blocked, and St. James deals with it. Although Arlington wins the second ball. Now St. James could be on the counter here. We're on the left wing and just driving with pace. And she wants a foul there. I definitely can see a foul, and that looks very rough. It looks like she may have hurt her knee there. God forbid something happened, but did go in really fast and kind of stopped really quick as well, which you never want to see. It's difficult when you're going that fast to stop, and a lot of times your body can kind of just give out on you. It looks like she's in a lot of pain at the moment. And it appears that that is, I believe that's Gabriella Davis, who's played a very good first half for Arlington. Actually, I don't think that's Gabriella Davis. I think that's Sophia Tomita. Her and Gabriella Davis both have 24 and 23, and it's a bit hard to see the numbers from up here. And she's going to limp off the field. Now Arlington's going to have to make a sub for a center back. They're actually going to move a right back outside and then put the right back at center back. What you see a lot with tactical decisions there, the right back's already been playing. You probably want to put her onto that center back position so she's a little more comfortable on the ball. She doesn't have to get subbed in and immediately play center back, which is one of the hardest positions in football. Now Arlington, yeah, the goalie looks to go quick a lot, but her teammates don't necessarily recognize that a lot of the time, I feel, and she's going to go for a long punt here. Really nice touch there by the Arlington player, but Courtney Mills just too good to deal with it, and she still has the ball and breaks out of that. Absolutely unreal by Courtney Mills, and she still has the ball. And just really well done there to not try and do too much and just keep the ball. That's what a lot of players lack. They try to do too much, and Courtney Mills gets involved again there to break the press. Really just a standout performance today for her. And she may get on the ball here again. They're going to elect to go down the line. I think going back to the middle would have made a little more sense there. So it's going to be a goal kick for Arlington. And the keeper of Arlington has gone quick on every opportunity she gets, and that's kind of why you don't want to do that too much. It's easy to press because the St. James players recognize it. It's a nice turn there by Arlington, but she's not going to be able to find that ball that she's looking for. Now St. James on the counter. As we see, this game is super back and forth. I believe that's Elsie McGee on the turn. Gets back under her left foot here. And now she's in the left corner one-on-one, and she's going to claim a throw-in. Nicely done there by Elsie McGee, who's had a great impact on this game as well. Now we have a throw-in pretty much as far as it gets in the corner here for this St. James. They're going to go short. That look a bit of a legal throw, but I think the ref's going to let it slide. Now Elsie McGee one-on-one here, going to try to get a corner, and she does. And that's just really smart tactical football. Play it into the corner. Let Arlington give you a corner, and now you have a very attacking, dangerous set piece to capitalize off of. And it's 1-0 here, 11 minutes in, and we've got 30 more minutes to play, maybe 34 minutes more to play this football match. I'm going to see what happens. Elsie McGee will take the corner with her right foot. Go, a really nice ball to the back post, but, oh, and it's actually flicked back into the middle. That was nicely done to deal with that. It was the St. James center back, and her effort there will win them another corner. That's very nicely done by Sheridan Snow, who has played very good, I must mention. Very, very solid. She was one of those center backs I was talking about that's able to drive into the middle and then find that pass, which is very important. Now it's Elsie McGee on the corner again. I believe she'll try and go to the back post, although players, and they're going to have one run to the front post here to open something up, and it's actually on goal, punched away by the keeper. Nice touch here. Can she get a shot off? Able to get the shot, but it's blocked by Arlington. Now it's stuck in the corner. Nicely cleared there, and St. James player going to head it back. That was a bit of a handball there, but I'm not going to call that. Now Arlington able to break out of this pressure, and nicely dealt with by the St. James defender. But she's going to lose it. She had to get rid of it quicker there. She just took a little too much time. And it's nicely dealt with there by the St. James left back. Now this is Callie Conrad with the ball. She realized she would have got a high kick if she went for that. So smart play there to just keep the ball. And because of that, tactical awareness by her, now she has a throw-in instead of a foul for the other team. It's nicely done by Callie Conrad there. Now we have Gabriella Davis to play that ball over into the midfield. And it's turned and played out. Nicely done there. Arlington elects to play down the line. It's going to go out of bounds. A little bit of a tough ball there to deal with. Really not much you could do with that. And now St. James under pressure because of a bit of a tough throw-in to deal with. But, I mean, what a ball there. And a bit of a fight in the midfield here. Wow, that's a little bit of a late push. Yeah, they're going to have to call that. And, yeah, referee's going to have to speak to her about that as well. It's just a little dangerous. There's no need to push at the end there. She's arguing her case, and that's fair, but it's very dangerous to push at the end like that. You know, the player's not ready for you for a push there and could get injured. I'm not sure what just happened. It looks like Elsie McGee is being told to leave the field, but no red card or yellow card was shown. I've actually never seen that before. It could be she doesn't have shin guards or something like that. I'm not sure what just happened there. It appears the ref just kicked her off the field, but unaware of all the details. As now St. James is pushing down the line. A little bit of a back and forth battle there. Now Callie Conrad on the throw-in on the left side. And she finds a wide open midfielder here for Arlington as she drives forward and plays a nice switch to the right back. Now Arlington on the attack, plays it into the right winger's feet. She does a nice job to hold the ball up. She's got to find a pass now, though. And just a little, wow, unbelievable skill there. Just doesn't have enough to keep it, but really nicely done to escape that first press by the Arlington attacker. Wow, nicely done there by, that could have been a foul, but they're not going to call it. And she beats one, now open in the midfield on her left foot. She's going to elect to shoot, and it's defended nicely by the St. James. That's Sheridan Snow, again, getting involved defensively. Playing a nice game at center back for the St. James. Now Courtney Mills on the ball again. She's been quiet a little bit. Haven't seen much of her this second half. She was very big impact in the first half, but she's got to try and get on the ball here. Nice flick on header there, and it goes into, and a turn onto the right foot. Here, the St. James. She's telling her to go down the line, and it's a nicely done. And one-on-one here with the St. James cutback, and it's saved. Nicely done by Arlington to deal with that. Good defense, and that was Elsie McGee with an incredible play. She literally told her right winger, make the run for me. And the left back on Arlington just did not recognize it quick enough and was able to play it down the line. And a quick throw in here by the St. James. Nice turn on the left foot, but really that should be a foul as she missed the ball and hit the player, but the ref's going to let it play. He's been letting them play a pretty physical game today. If you're joining new, it's been a physical game. As you can see again there, and there's another hit that he's letting go. So very physical game we have here. St. James on the counter now, plays it in on her left foot, top of the box, plays a nice through ball into the left side, and now she might be one-on-one. Elects to shoot, and it's no good. It's just off. Not sure why I said no good there. It was not a field goal attempt. Apologies for that. But that was a nice shot and a nice attempt there by the St. James. That is number 22, Mia de Villegas Decker, with a nice play. She's showed some serious ability this second half. Almost got herself on the score sheet there. Now Courtney Mills, nice job to fight off the player there and not let her get her head on it. And that's an ambitious ball. It almost works, and maybe you think Elsie McGee should be ready for that ball, although it's a very, very, very hard ball to read. Now Hallie Thomas completely beats her. Wow, nicely done by Hallie Thomas. Plays it over to the right side, and a shot. It's a difficult angle, but it's saved. And when you see that shot go off, you think, no chance, you know, really hard angle on her right foot, trying to go all the way back to the far post. But it's a really good effort, and it makes the goalie sweat a bit there. Nice one-time ball out to the right side here, but it's going to go out for a throw. It's a good idea. It's just it's very tough to play that ball. There's not much to do after that ball is played. Even if you do get it to your right back, it's just not much to do with it. Courtney Mills fighting for this ball, and a good battle here on this outside. And that could be a foul, but the ref is going to let it go. Lots of contact on that. I don't know. That could have been a foul there, but Arlington not necessarily too frustrated with the call. I mean, didn't even see the player who got put to the ground say anything, so I'm going to assume that it's just all ball. But it did look like a foul from up here. Now St. James has a throw-in, I believe. Oh, no, Arlington has a throw-in. Apologies. In the St. James territory. Deep in their territory here. Most likely they're going to try and get it onto Hallie Thomas's feet, who has been very good for Arlington today. And they play it short, get it back to Conrad, but she loses it there. Another throw. Looks like a handball there. They're not going to call it again. Ref really letting him play today, gotta say. And a nice ball down the line there to Elsie McGee with a nice turn, but very well defended. But Elsie McGee now on the counter. She's holding the ball up with her right foot. And a nice turn by Elsie McGee. And cuts it back to her left, and now a shot. And that was very nicely done by Elsie McGee, showing some serious class. And the goalie elects to go quick again and just taken out of the air so easily by Hallie Thomas, and then uses her head and still has the ball. Hallie Thomas has showed us that she can play under pressure. I think the goalie's got to relax a bit, though. It's a little too fast once she gets the ball. A lot of the times her team is not even necessarily ready for these balls that she's playing. They are good balls. I just think she should wait a bit and get her team a little more set. As we can see there, just not much was ready to happen after the ball gets into Hallie Thomas's feet. Now St. James with another goal kick here. It goes short to the right, and a really, 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 really rough ball back to the keeper, who deals with it, but at what cost? St. James somehow able to get out of that pressure. Not yet, though. They could lose this. Now they go back to the, yeah, really well done by St. James. And there's a through ball now to Elsie McGee, who's holding it up. And a great ball through. I just don't know if she's going to get there. It's a great idea by Elsie McGee. Honestly executed perfectly. I just don't think her right winger was ready for that ball. I think she probably should be making that run a bit earlier, make it a little easier on Elsie McGee, who does a great job to hold it up and try and get it forward. Now Arlington, deep in their territory, going to have to try and break out of this press, as St. James is 5v4 in this scenario. As they go down the line on a throw-in, and they are able to break out. That's Courtney Mills playing nice defense there, but it does get back out to the left side here for Arlington. Now Arlington plays down the line, and a nice touch to keep it. And then a nice ball. That's really well done by the Arlington left winger. The touch really set her up for success there. And this is going to go back to the keeper. Yeah, the touch there by the Arlington left winger was really incredible because it gives her time and space, and it puts the ball away from the defender. Well, that's a howler of a pass, and it's a one-on-one here, and it's a goal. It is a goal by the freshly subbed on Arlington player. That is number 34. Wow. That was a quick turn of events there. I've been praising the St. James back line for being able to deal with pressure, but eventually you can make a mistake, and it looks like St. James has moved to a 3-back, possibly still a 4-back, but maybe that was what the mistake stemmed from. Trying to switch into a 3-back mid-game is difficult. Your team's not used to it, and that makes it a 1-1 game here. And really just a great game to watch and be here for today at the St. James complex. Now that's very well dealt with. And now Sheridan Snow is going to just elect to just slow it down and get this ball out of bounds and reset. And I think that's the right thing to do. Just got scored on. You can't get scored on again right after that. So I think that's a smart decision to get it out of bounds. Now Arlington going to go down the line. It's dealt with well. She's all by herself there, 1v2. Courtney Mills with some good defense there to help out. And they go short again. That was the goal scorer there, number 34 for Arlington. And a rough ball there, picked off by St. James, who's driving, and she goes for the killer pass there. And I think St. James just needs to slow it down a bit on the counter. A lot of times they go for one-touch flick-on passes, or they go for one-touch passes back to where they just came from. There's another one there. It's just very difficult. And I feel like St. James has the ability to play through Arlington. They've been showing it today. I think they need to stick to what's working. They're just making it a bit hard on them playing these long balls. As we have a sub here for the St. James. And now Arlington will have a throw in deep in their territory, back right of the field. And she's going to go down the line here, but they're going to give it right back to St. James. But then it goes right back to Arlington, now back to St. James. It's almost like ping pong here. Just going back and forth. Nice touch to escape the pressure there by the St. James player. Plays it in, and they go back to where they just came from, which is what I was just referring to. It's just, in the sport, you have to be patient, and you have to know when you have time to turn and when you don't, and when you have time to play and when you don't. And the St. James players, I just feel like they're not scanning or not getting enough communication from their teammates. An ambitious shot here, saved by the keeper. And she's going to go long and quick again, which just is very difficult to work out, but it looks like it may work out here. And a nice switch is on, and it's a great ball through. One-on-one with the keeper. She shoots, and it's a goal. And absolutely beautiful, quick counterattack by Arlington, and they have scored 2 goals in maybe 5 minutes to completely flip this game on its head and make the score 2-1 to Arlington. And there it is by the There it is by the keeper. The quick counterattack punt pays off. It hasn't been working most of the game, but that's why you do things and you keep doing them. Eventually it's going to work. And there it just works perfectly for Arlington as they flip this game on its head. 2-1 now for Arlington as they were trailing for 60 minutes of this game. Nice ball there and a nice header to keep that ball down. And a nice turn again, but she does lose it here. Now St. James on the attack as they get it into the midfield. Wow, nicely done to keep that ball. And she's on her right foot. Could go for a shot here, but plays it out to the right, and it's just a little too much there. It's a great idea. And honestly, very well played there by the St. James player. But sometimes just not good enough. And that's one of those times, but it was a nice idea. Now Arlington is going to have a goal kick here again. Finally, the goalie takes some time and slows down. I think that's going to help her team out a lot. Now that they are in the lead 2-1, maybe that is why she's finally slowing down. She could be thinking, I've got to go fast because we're down 1-0, and got to say, I've got to give it to her. The second goal completely stemmed from the Arlington keeper. That's well done. Now, St. James on the attack, driving down the left side. Not going to be able to get something out of that. Tries for the slide at the end there. Just really difficult to get something out of that. A lot of times when you drive down the wings with pace and you don't beat the defender off the start of it, it becomes really hard because you're going in a foot race and you're dribbling and the defender isn't. And it becomes easy for the defender to just kind of walk with you down the line and just give you nothing, which she just did. The Arlington defender, it's well done. Now another goal kick here for Arlington. They play a deep ball in, almost 60 yards. Really well done. And flicked on nicely by the goal scorer there, number 34 for Arlington. Made a great impact on this game so far. That's really nicely well done to hold that ball up there. And a nice ball through by Elsie McGee. Is she going to get there? No. And that, again, we have Elsie McGee with some great hold-up play. And she's just a little off on the ball through. So close twice now. 2 really good line-breaking passes that could have led to goals, but I think her and her right winger are just a bit off on communication and when to make the run and timing today, because they're just a little bit off of 2 goals from some hold-up play and some turning and passing. It's very nicely done by Elsie McGee. Another great goal kick here by the Arlington keeper, who has showed her class today as well. Now St. James got the ball in the corner of midfield. Nice ball there, but it just doesn't work out for Arlington. What a touch by Courtney Mills, and just completely beats the defender there. And again, just rushing it a bit, Courtney Mills. She likes to play the forward pass, but she's got to slow down sometimes. She makes it difficult on herself when she tries to play so fast. Now St. James driving, got a little bit of space, going to cut it over to the right side to number 4 there. And a nice ball into Elsie McGee, who almost turns, and she's been able to turn today, but just couldn't do it in the box when it mattered most. Now number 34 in Arlington plays an idea of a pass through there, but she wins it back. Now she's on her left foot, and that's a tough ball to get to. Looks like that may have been the weak foot there. Just hit a little bit too hard. You can tell she's frustrated with that pass. Although it is a great idea. And it was good hustle to get back on that ball. Now, St. James has a throw in here in their own corner. They've got to get out of this, or else it could be tough. Courtney Mills gets on the ball there. Keeps fighting for it, but can't get it. And now it's going to be a throw for Arlington. Now, Conrad's going to throw it in. And a nice flick off, a nice one-time flick by the striker to play it out to the left winger, who's going to drive in and get a corner. That's pretty much exactly what you want to do when you get a throw in the other team's half. You want to just invite the other team to make a mistake and give you a corner. And once you get a corner, now things get interesting here for Arlington, as they're up 2-1 completely on the front foot in this game. And if they can get one here, I honestly think they can put this game to bed, as the St. James struggling with their counter and with their attacking presence in the second half. And Arlington has been the opposite. They've been great on the counter and just finishing their chances. As the corner comes in here to the front post, and it's flicked on, but no. Now we've going to play it right back out. She might be offsides. I think she's good. Now she's going to cut back to the right. And a nice ball again, but it's a little too central. No one really there. And a nice one-time ball here to Elsie McGee, who's wide open 1v1. Can she? And it's really well defended. Very well defended there by Gabriella Davis, who has played a great game for Arlington. Done really well. And she's had a great battle with Elsie McGee. They've gone at it a lot today. But they, I think, can both respect each other's ability. That's nicely dealt with to get it out. And a nice ball there, actually, by the left center back of the St. James. Now some hold-up play here. She's able to keep it and get it back to her teammate there on the left side. And that's just what I'm talking about. You got to slow down sometimes. No need to force it there. You can go back, find the keeper, reset. But they elect to go forward. I think they're hungry for this tying goal. As they go forward again. That's a bit of a risky pass, but I think no problem for Arlington. It's Gabriella Davis, very, very composed on the ball, and really a good center back for Arlington. Showed a great game today. See if she can keep it that way for the next 20 minutes. Try and keep a clean sheet, possibly. Nice ball in here to the midfield, and a nice turn. It looked like a handball there. I think the ref didn't call it because it ended up going to St. James. Now Courtney Mills on the ball. She's going to lose it, and that's a bit of a late challenge, but they're going to play advantage, I believe, as Courtney Mills gets beat in the middle there. Another nice one-touch flick out to the left side, and another, wow, what a save, but it's going to be followed up, and no. Honestly, a bit of contact there. Could have been a foul on Abigail Collis, but I think she knows what she's doing there. Getting a bit of a late hit. A lot of defenders do like to hit after the shot. It's important because if you don't, a lot of times the striker's going to know, like, I'm not really worried. I can, take my time with this shot and take it. But Abigail Collis, shows that she's not messing around. And she's going to be there for some contact if you get in the box. Good game played by her as well. And really, the defenses of both teams have stood out to me today. Both been able to play out of the back. Both been able to deal with pressure well. And that's Hallie Thomas, who I've said her name a lot today, making great impact. But there's just not really her game there to try and go down the line with the speed. Good hold-up play again here by Elsie McGee, who's also had her name called a lot today. And she tries to get in there and get that ball, but just not really a possible way to get that. It was nicely done by the Arlington defender to get her body in front. Arlington on the counter here and dealt with well by St. James. Now Hallie Thomas with a bad touch, actually. And that's Mia de Villegas Decker with a nice play to win that ball. And a nice ball there, actually, for the St. James. Just a little bit too far. A little bit far out to the right. Now Conrad will have the throw for Arlington. And Arlington looks to make a sub here as we approach 25 minutes left, probably around that time frame. But we've got a game on our hands here, folks. 2-1 here for Arlington. Came back down 1-0. But it's been it's anyone's game here today. Neither team has dominated by any means. They've both played a very great game, and I think it's a good matchup, these two teams. It's a good attacking and really defending matchup for both teams here. As they played into number 34, turns it on her left foot. Nicely done. She keeps that ball. Plays to Hallie Thomas, who we know her ability is she plays a beautiful ball into the right winger. And a header actually goes back to number 38 here on Arlington. She's not able to deal with that. It's a tough ball to deal with. And nicely done by Arlington there to just shield that ball and actually goes for a quick throw in here. And now St. James has the ball, and a risky pass there, but it works out. And that is an ambitious ball to the weak side. Does not work out for the St. James. Now Courtney Mills with the ball, and it looks like she's going to win it. No, those two have had a good battle so far in this midfield. As a one-time ball gets played through, but it's nicely dealt with by Sheridan Snow, which I've said a lot of times today. She's playing a great game at right center back for the St. James WPSL squad. Oh, that's a bit of a mishap there, and Elsie McGee can get on this. She's one-on-one by herself here. She's got to make this count. She cuts to her left, gonna probably try and cut, and she shoots from far. I'm not sure if that's the shot from that far out. That's just really difficult, but I do respect the idea of just getting a shot off. You need to create something here for the St. James. The way they scored in the beginning was actually a shot from maybe 30, 25 yards out. Really, you never know what happens till you shoot, so you got to test the keeper. As there, the keeper plays a nice ball, and a beautiful touch there by the Arlington left winger, but wasn't able to keep it after the touch, but it was a great touch out of the air. That's a nice header by the Arlington center back to deal with that. Another one there. Now Hallie Thomas tries to get herself on the ball, and she keeps it. Nicely done by Arlington, keep this ball, and they try to kind of slow this game down, but there's a risky ball into the midfield that Courtney Mills wins, but now she's losing it to number 34 on Arlington. I don't have everyone's names on this roster, so I'm doing my best with the names I have. If I'm not saying your name, apologies. There's Hallie Thomas driving with the ball. The right-footed pass through, it's close, but she does win it back with a beautiful touch to beat the left back there on the St. James. Now Hallie Thomas by herself one-on-one here. A nice spin there to get it onto her left foot, and a good ball in. Now she's on her left foot, the striker, gets it back to her right, back to her left, and a shot, but very well defended by Sheridan Snow. She never got beat there, just stayed in front and contained, which is exactly what you want to do as a center back. If you never bite, you can't necessarily get beat. And that was number 24, Gabriela Davis, who loses that ball, trying to play a nice ball into the midfield. Now the St. James collects possession in the midfield. That's number 11 for the St. James. Deals with it well. Now Courtney Mills is alone, driving with the ball, and that is a scary sight for Arlington, as we've seen what she can do. She plays it into McGee. McGee on the right foot with a nice ball through, and it finally connects to the right winger. They haven't been able to connect all game, but it finally does here. Now she's one-on-one, gets it back to her right foot, back to the left, cuts it across, but just no one there. And I would have liked to see Elsie McGee run onto that, as there was some space there for her to run into and possibly get a shot, but she kind of just stayed still at the top of the box there. And now she's going to get subbed off. It'll be Elsie McGee sub off and Courtney Mills, who are two of the better players here, I must say, on the St. James. And when you're down 2-1, it's a little bit shocking to see them go off, quite frankly. Hopefully the subs can come on and make a big impact here for the St. James, as this game is coming to an end. Not much time left. Got to get an equalizing goal and possibly a game winner. And it will go out for a goal kick here for Arlington. And the Arlington keeper hopefully will play it slow here. No need to rush. You're up 2-1. Invite the pressure and play out of it like they have all game. But they decide to go long, which has also worked for them, especially with the boot that the keeper has. She's able to play like a 60-yard goal kick, which you can see right there. It goes right to her player, which is nicely done by the keeper again. Although the touch let her down there, number 7 on Arlington. It's a bit of a difficult throw in to deal with, and number 34 with a great play there to break out of that pressure. That was tremendously done. And a nice ball, a nice left-footed ball here, cuts it into the right foot and shot. Really beautiful football there by Arlington. Off the throw and switch it to the other side, cut inside and shoot. I mean, it's about as textbook as it gets, and almost worked out for them. Now, the St. James on the attack here. Oh my gosh, they did not talk there, but it somehow works out for Arlington. Big miscommunication there that the St. James was not able to capitalize on. Nice touch there by number 34. And she beats her man. Can she stay on it? She does. She's in the corner now, 1v1, cuts it onto her left foot, and across to the back post. It may go. It does fall to number 9, but just a really difficult ball to get on frame there. It's kind of sitting on the ground as she hits it, and not really much to deal with there. It wasn't a great ball, but it was a good idea by number 34 there on Arlington. Now, a quick goal kick here by the St. James keeper. And Arlington, a little scary there, heads it back, and now they're under a lot of pressure. Great pressure there by number 17 on the St. James, and they do retain the ball. And just for a minute, though. Now they lost it. Now Hallie Thomas on the attack. She plays a good idea of a right-footed ball into number 7, Arlington. She's able to keep it. Now she's completely by herself, one-on-one here in the corner. She's going to play back to number 8, who does not see Decker come back there. A nice turn by number 17, but completely by herself up there. Has no help from her teammates, and it's kind of what you're going to get when you play a ball 1v5 up to a striker. It's a difficult thing to do as a striker myself. A long, long, long punt here from the St. James keeper. It actually does work out, and a nice through ball here to number 3 on St. James. She should probably take her down the line, which she does. No one really in the box, though. Cuts it back to her left foot. Smart. Now to number 17, who plays it into, and a nice shot, but no! Wow. Incredible. The effort there by Sheridan Snow, who's a center back, mind you. The technique on that to try and get it to bend to the back post was really beautiful to see there. And honestly, I think the St. James deserved that goal. They've been playing great the last couple minutes, had a lot of pressure. It was really nicely done by the St. James, but they just don't get rewarded for it, and that's the cruelty of football. You know, you don't get rewarded every time you do something good. Sometimes you get rewarded for doing something bad. And we have a goal kick here for Arlington. She has got an absolute leg on her as she puts it 55 yards probably into the other half. And now the St. James on the counter. Nice left-footed ball there, but it's going towards the out-of-bounds line, and no one was there, so it's kind of hard to get onto that. But it's a good idea there by number 17 on the St. James. And now the St. James have to press, and they do. Elsie McGee, I believe that's going to be their ball. That's great pressure there by Elsie McGee, and she wants to throw in. Now they go quick here to number 3 on the St. James. She's all alone. Plays it back to Elsie McGee. She goes for a one-time cross there, and somehow the St. James still had that ball after that. I think probably should have slowed it down, tried to reset it, and possess the ball in Arlington's half and try to get a shot off. It's a little difficult to get a goal back when you're rushing things. You've got to slow down and break your opponent down, which the St. James, they've showed us they can do that with their first goal. So I think they've got to slow down and try and break them down instead of rushing. Now Arlington with the goal kick into Hallie Thomas's feet, and she loses it. Now into that's just, yeah, she hit, they hit knees there. It never feels good. And Elsie McGee most likely will need to be subbed off after that. Well, she does get up pretty quick. But yeah, they definitely hit knees there, and not really the greatest feeling. She's got a bit of a limp, but I think she's going to try and play through it here. Now Arlington has a throw in the corner. Nice touch, but it doesn't really beat anyone. They played into the feet of number 3 on the St. James. She's not able to turn the Arlington defender, who hits the corner flag down. They're probably going to have to address that. Not sure what, yeah, they're going to, okay, yeah. Just going to have to address the corner flag before you play, which they do. Well done by the ref. They're going to go for a long throw. Goes into number 11, and she's able to keep it. Elsie McGee is able to keep it as well. And wow, nicely done here. The left wing all by herself. On her right foot in the box, shot. And it's saved. A really nice way to drive in there. Cut onto your right foot and shoot by Mia de Villegas Decker. Very nicely done there. She really has had a lot of chances today. Probably deserves a goal with the way she's played. They're going to call foul there for the St. James. That's number 6 on the St. James, which is Abigail Collis, who's played a tremendous game today. Her and Sheridan Snow have really held that backline down well. Although they've given up 2 goals, they've played very good. Number 17 on the St. James, able to get something out of that. That's going to be a handball. The ref's going to have to call that. It's about as obvious as it gets. And now we're looking at possibly Courtney Mills to come back in the game. They're going to need her in these dying minutes. They've got, it appears, maybe 2-3 minutes left of this match. And yeah, the St. James needs a goal. I mean, they've got to get a point out of this game with playoffs coming up. They've got to get something. Really nicely done there by number 24 on Arlington. The keeper's going to elect to just kick that one out. Not a horrible idea. Just got to slow it down and let your team get set. And that's exactly what they do, because now they're going to sub, and Arlington gets a bit of a break there. So it's smart by the goalie on Arlington. And very well done by Gabriella Davis under pressure to be able to play that ball back to the goalie and possibly even tell her to kick it out. There may have been some communication there, some tactical communication to play that ball out of bounds. They're going to play it into the holdup. Striker here, Elsie McGee. She may get a corner off that. And the players are asking for a corner, but the linesman did not see the ball go out there. Remember, the roundness of the ball does come into play when the ball's in the out of bounds. It has to be the entire ball out of bounds. Can't just be a little bit of it. Nice header there by Sheridan Snow. Deal with that. And now Arlington on the counter a little bit here. She's got nowhere to go. Hopefully she can keep this ball. Cuts it back onto her left. Well done, but she's going to lose it there. And now the counter could be on for the St. James. That's going to be a foul, but okay, he calls it a bit late. I think that could be a yellow as they were on a counter. I think he missed a bit of a yellow card there. Go for a long kick there by, and it actually, oh wow, I think she should have let that go past her. It did beat her defender. That was a really good ball by Sheridan Snow. Just a bit of a miscommunication by number 17 there. Probably should have checked her shoulder and saw that it was actually going to beat her defender. And Sheridan Snow dumps it in the box again. Elsie McGee with it, flicks it on. And it's just going to, yeah, Abigail is able to deal with that. Oh, sorry, Gabriella Davis was able to deal with that. Apologies. Nicely turned there by number 15 on Arlington. Looked like she slipped a bit when she turned there. Artificial grass is pretty tough to play on. It's not the most rewarding field to play on. I think a lot of soccer athletes prefer grass for a plethora of reasons, but you can see she slipped there a bit, and it really does affect the game more than people think. And now St. James is going to have to really hustle here. We're in the 46th minute. This may be the last kick of the game. St. James has got to get a nice goal kick up here and really just go for a last chance. She gets it up to about the 50, which is good, but not good enough as, oh, and it actually does kind of work out. We're going to call foul there. So St. James got to get the ball over here to Sheridan Snow, who's got a nice range of pass on her. And the ball's moving. She's got to wait for it to stop. Okay, appears she's going to go to the back post here. Lumps it into the box. It's dangerous. They got to get on it, though. They don't. And now it could be a counter for Arlington, which is dangerous. Sheridan Snow's got to deal with this well. She doesn't necessarily deal with it great. Now, number 9 on Arlington is a one-on-one. She's got it, and she flicks it back, but number 16, oh, wow. And 15 on Arlington. It's a 2v3 here. They've got to score, and they do. Really an incredible finish there by number 15 on Arlington. Sheridan Snow tried her best there. She just didn't have any help from her teammates and tried to clear it, but just none of her teammates are around, and Arlington kind of had a 2v1 there. And that'll most likely put a seal to this game. 3-1 as Arlington makes the comeback, down 1-0 to the St. James. But we've had a great game to watch today as we're going to play it back to, yeah, that's going to be it. It was a good effort by the St. James to try and get one at the end there, but just didn't work out, and it's going to end 3-1. This was DMV Sports Media. I'm your host, Jack Geist, and final score here is 3-1 for Arlington WPSL U21 against the St. James WPSL. Hope you guys have a great evening, and make sure to like, subscribe.